Dr. Alan Wright couldn't believe what he was seeing. The signal patterns on his screen at the Arecibo Observatory were unlike anything he'd encountered in his 15 years of scanning the stars. "Lisa, come look at this," he called to his assistant. Lisa Mitchell hurried over, her eyes widening as she studied the regular pulses coming from deep space. "That's not natural," she said quietly. "No, it's not," Alan agreed. "These are structured transmissions. Someone is trying to communicate." For 3 days, they worked around the clock, analyzing the mysterious signal. Other astronomers around the world confirmed the same findings. The pattern repeated with mathematical precision that couldn't be explained by any known cosmic phenomenon. On the 4th day, Lisa burst into Alan's office. "We've done it." The computer decoded part of the message. The first contact with an alien civilization wasn't broadcast widely at first. Government officials from major nations were quietly informed, and a special UN session was convened behind closed doors. "We need to respond carefully," said UN Secretary General Warren Davis. "This could be the most important moment in human history." The message, once fully decoded, was an invitation. Earth was being formally acknowledged by something called the Galactic Council, a coalition of advanced species who govern this sector of the galaxy. They wished to establish diplomatic relations with humanity. Debate raged among world leaders. Some wanted to respond immediately, eager for the benefits of advanced alien technology. Others urged caution, warning of potential threats. "We know nothing about their intentions," argued General Patricia Evans of the United States. "This could be a prelude to invasion, or the beginning of a new golden age for humanity," countered Dr. Carlos Jimenez, a prominent physicist. "We can't miss this opportunity." After 2 weeks of intense discussion, the UN voted to respond. The Earth Diplomatic Corps was hastily formed, composed of diplomats, scientists, and military advisors from around the world. Ambassador Frank Bennett, a seasoned diplomat with 30 years of experience in international relations, was selected to lead the EDC. At 62, his calm demeanor and sharp mind made him the logical choice for humanity's first representative to alien life. "I never imagined my career would end with me talking to beings from another world," Frank told his wife the night before departing. The Council's response came quickly. They would send a vessel to the edge of Earth's solar system. Earth was to dispatch a small delegation to meet with Council representatives. The next month was a blur of preparations. Olivia Carter, the mission's chief science officer, oversaw the selection of scientific instruments they would bring. Major John Wilson led security training, though everyone hoped his military expertise wouldn't be needed. "We'll be completely at their mercy," John reminded the team during their final briefing. "Stay alert and trust nothing until proven trustworthy." The delegation included 7 members: Ambassador Bennett, Dr. Carter, Major Wilson, linguist Dr. Susan Kelly, biologist Dr. Richard Cooper, engineer Kevin Martinez, and medical officer Dr. Diane Foster. On a clear morning in July, they boarded a specially modified spacecraft at Cape Canaveral. Millions watched the live broadcast as the shuttle lifted off, carrying humanity's first emissaries to the stars. As Earth shrank behind them, Frank gazed out the viewport. "Whatever happens," he said to his team, "remember that we represent not just our nations, but our entire species." 5 days later, they received confirmation that the Council vessel had arrived at the rendezvous point near lunar orbit. The massive ship dwarfed their shuttle, stretching several kilometers from end to end. "My God," whispered Olivia as they approached the alien craft. "It's beautiful." A docking bay opened like a massive mouth in the side of the vessel. As their shuttle entered the cavernous space, humanity crossed the threshold into a wider universe, unaware of the true nature of the Galactic Council or the trials that awaited them. The journey to Centauri Prime took 3 weeks. The Earth delegation spent their time learning about the Council's history from their alien hosts. The Voldarians had founded the Galactic Council 10,000 years ago, bringing together hundreds of species under one governing body. Ambassador Frank Bennett watched carefully as their transport ship approached the Council headquarters. The massive structure orbited Centauri Prime, a ringed planet with swirling blue clouds. The station resembled a giant wheel with spokes extending from a central hub. "It's magnificent," Olivia Carter whispered, pressing her hand against the viewport. Their escort, a tall Voldarian named Krell, clicked his mandibles in what they had learned was a gesture of pride. The Grand Wheel houses representatives from over 500 worlds. As they docked, Frank reminded his team of their mission. "Remember, we're here to establish peaceful relations, but also to protect Earth's interests. Take nothing at face value." The reception area bustled with aliens of all descriptions. Some floated in transparent bubbles, others moved on multiple legs or glided on cushions of air. The humans drew curious stares from every direction. Grand Counselor Zextral greeted them personally. The Voldarian stood nearly 8 feet tall, with iridescent blue skin and 4 arms. "Welcome, children of Earth. Your arrival marks a historic moment for the Council." Frank performed the formal greeting they had practiced. "We bring greetings from all nations of Earth, and look forward to learning from your wisdom." The Grand Counselor led them through vast chambers, where representatives debated in dozens of languages, all translated by small devices attached to the humans' ears. "The Council maintains peace across this sector of the galaxy," Zextrol explained. "We guide developing worlds toward advancement while protecting them from exploitation." During the formal introduction ceremony, Frank noticed the subtle hierarchy among Council species. The Voldarians clearly held the most power, followed by the insectoid Zinchians and the crystalline Neorians. Newer member species seemed to have little actual influence. Later, in their private quarters, Major Wilson voiced his concerns. "Did you see how the lesser species defer to the founding races? I don't like the implications." "I noticed," Frank replied. "And I'm troubled by this probationary status they've assigned us. It sounds suspiciously like second-class citizenship." On their third day, Olivia discovered a database entry about protected planets while using the Council's information systems. The designation supposedly shielded developing worlds from outside interference, but the fine print told a different story. "Earth has been classified as a Class 3 developing world," she told the team in their quarters that night. "That means we're allowed only limited technology transfers, and all our resources are essentially under Council protection." Dr. Susan Kelly frowned. Protection sounds more like control. Their suspicions grew when Richard Cooper discovered hidden cameras in their quarters. Using a signal jammer he had smuggled on board, he created a small zone where they could speak freely. "I've been monitoring Council communications," Kevin Martinez said quietly. "They're discussing Earth's valuable mineral deposits and abundant biological resources. They don't see us as equals. They see us as a resource." During an official dinner, Frank overheard a Zinchian representative mention another protected world that had recently been opened for managed resource extraction. The inhabitants had been relocated to more suitable environments. That night, Frank composed an encrypted message to Earth using a communication protocol they had developed before departure. The message was hidden within standard diplomatic updates. "Council intentions questionable. Evidence suggests systematic resource exploitation of developing worlds. Recommend immediate contingency planning. Will continue gathering information." As he sent the message, Frank gazed out at the spectacular view of Centauri Prime. Behind its beautiful exterior, the Galactic Council was not what it seemed, and Earth's future within it looked increasingly uncertain. 6 months after first contact, a delegation of Council representatives landed on Earth. They arrived in a gleaming silver ship that settled gently on the grounds of the United Nations headquarters in New York. The event was broadcast worldwide, with billions watching as aliens officially set foot on Earth soil. Grand Counselor Zextral presented what he called friendship gifts to Earth's leaders: limited medical technology, advanced agricultural methods, and elementary space travel improvements. The Council claimed these gifts would help Earth develop at an appropriate pace. "We are pleased to welcome Earth into the Galactic community," Zextrol announced. "These technologies will improve the lives of your people while respecting your natural development path." Behind the scenes, Major John Wilson wasn't convinced. In a secure underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, he examined the alien technology with a team of Earth's best scientists and engineers. "Notice how none of this gives us any defensive capabilities," he told the gathered experts. "They're careful to keep us dependent." Dr. Susan Kelly discovered the first concrete evidence of deception. While examining a medical scanner, she found a hidden component that wasn't part of the main device. "It's transmitting data," she reported. "This isn't just a medical tool. It's a sophisticated tracking device that maps mineral concentrations where it's used." Within weeks, similar monitoring devices were found in all the GIFT technology. Meanwhile, Council ships increased their presence in Earth orbit, officially for diplomatic purposes. Kevin Martinez led a team of hackers who managed to breach the security on a Council communication relay. What they found confirmed their worst fears. "They're mapping every significant mineral deposit on the planet," Kevin explained to an emergency meeting of world leaders. "I've intercepted plans for what they call Phase 2, establishing mining operations under the guise of technological education centers." President Laura Rodriguez studied the evidence carefully. "And what happens to the countries that refuse these centers?" "According to their communications, they'll be declared non-compliant and subject to administrative oversight," Kevin replied. "In plain English, they'll lose their sovereignty." Further intelligence showed that Earth wasn't the first world to face this treatment. Dr. Richard Cooper discovered records of dozens of planets that had been similarly approached, offered protection, and eventually stripped of resources. "The pattern is always the same," Richard explained. "First comes diplomatic contact, then limited technology transfer, followed by resource survey, and finally extraction. Some worlds were completely depopulated in the process." Surveillance footage captured Council representatives scanning the ocean floor near major oil deposits. Others were detected taking biological samples from rainforests and coral reefs without permission. As evidence mounted, Earth's leaders faced a difficult choice. Open confrontation would be suicidal given the Council's advanced technology, but surrender meant eventual subjugation. In a historic secret meeting held in an underground bunker in Switzerland, representatives from every nation gathered to determine humanity's response. "We need time," said Admiral Diane Foster. "Time to understand their technology and develop countermeasures. Then we must continue the charade," President Rodriguez concluded. "We'll act grateful for their gifts while preparing in secret." The plan was approved unanimously. Operation Midnight Shield was born, a global initiative to prepare Earth for inevitable conflict while maintaining a facade of cooperation. As the meeting concluded, Frank Bennett, who had returned from Centauri Prime to report directly, addressed the room. "Make no mistake," he said gravely. "We're at war already. The Council just doesn't know it yet. And our only advantage is that they think we're too primitive to understand their true intentions." That night, as Council ships moved silently through Earth's orbit, humanity began its secret preparations. The deception had been revealed, and Earth would not go quietly. Operation Midnight Shield transformed remote military bases around the world into centers of innovation. Deep in the Siberian wilderness, beneath the Sahara Desert, and within hollowed-out mountains in the Andes, humans worked day and night to prepare their defense. Former enemies became allies by necessity. Chinese engineers collaborated with American scientists. Russian defense experts shared secrets with European technicians. The threat from beyond the stars united humanity in ways no earthly crisis ever had. "We have to maintain absolute secrecy," Admiral Diane Foster reminded the leaders of each facility during her global inspection tour. "The Council thinks we're primitive. Let's use that assumption against them." The aliens continued their polite deception, expanding their presence on Earth with each passing month. They established cultural exchange centers that were actually surveillance outposts. Their ships conducted atmospheric research, that was really military reconnaissance. Meanwhile, Dr. Richard Cooper made the first breakthrough in an underground laboratory beneath Antarctica. By studying the alien devices, he developed a method to shield human activities from Council sensors. Their scanning technology uses a form of quantum entanglement, Richard explained to the Global Security Council. We can create a field that disrupts this link without alerting them that it's being disrupted. This advancement allowed Operation Midnight Shield to expand. Hidden factories began producing components for Earth's defense. Old missile silos were converted into shipyards. Abandoned mine shafts became testing grounds for new weapons. Kevin Martinez led the cybersecurity team that kept all these activities hidden from alien surveillance. They created false data feeds that showed only what the Council expected to see, a compliant Earth grateful for alien guidance. We're feeding them exactly what they want to believe, Kevin said as he demonstrated the system. They see primitive humans stumbling to understand basic Council technology, while we reverse engineer their advanced systems right under their noses. The aliens gave Earth limited space travel capabilities, allowing short journeys to the Moon and Mars. What they didn't know was that Earth used these sanctioned missions to test much more advanced propulsion systems in secret. Beneath the Pacific Ocean, the greatest project of all took shape. Fleet Admiral Diane Foster oversaw construction of Earth's first battle-capable ships, built using a combination of reverse-engineered alien technology and human innovation. The Council believes warfare requires their level of advancement. Diane told her engineers, "We need to prove them wrong." On the diplomatic front, Ambassador Frank Bennett continued the charade. He attended Council functions on Earth, expressing humanity's gratitude for alien guidance. Every smile concealed his knowledge of their true intentions. During one reception at the UN, Grand Counselor Zextrol approached Frank. "Your people adapt remarkably quickly to new concepts, Ambassador. Perhaps too quickly." Frank's heart raced, but his expression remained pleasantly neutral. "We're eager students, Counselor. Your wisdom benefits us greatly." Later that night, Frank warned the Security Council. "They're getting suspicious. We need to be more careful." The following week, Council representatives announced plans to establish administrative zones near the Great Lakes, the Amazon Basin, and Central Africa, all regions rich in resources. This acceleration of their plan confirmed humanity had less time than expected. "We're maybe 6 months from Phase 3, Dr. Susan Kelly reported after analyzing the announcement. "That's when they'll drop all pretense and begin direct resource extraction." Admiral Foster called an emergency meeting. "Are we ready if they move sooner?" The room fell silent until Dr. Richard Cooper spoke. "Not completely, but we're further along than they could possibly imagine." Around the world, in hidden bases and secret facilities, humanity's defenders worked with renewed urgency. The countdown had begun, and Earth's fate would depend on whether Operation Midnight Shield could be completed in time. What the Council failed to understand was that humans had spent their entire history preparing for threats. From the first stone weapons to nuclear arsenals, humans had always excelled at one thing above all others: finding ways to fight back. The betrayal began without warning. Council ships descended on the proposed administrative zones without waiting for Earth's approval. Heavy mining equipment and prefabricated structures were deployed across the Amazon, Central Africa, and northern Canada. "This is merely the next phase of our cooperative arrangement," Grand Counselor Zextrol announced in an emergency broadcast. "Earth will benefit greatly from Council supervision of your natural resources." When the Brazilian government protested the Amazon occupation, Zintian troops forcibly removed local officials. Similar actions followed in other regions. The pretense of friendship was rapidly dissolving. President Laura Rodriguez called an emergency UN session. "We must respond to this clear violation of our sovereignty," she declared, knowing the Council would be monitoring her words. That same day, Ambassador Frank Bennett and his team on Centauri Prime were confined to their quarters. Guards posted outside prevented any communication with Earth. "It's happening," Frank told his staff. They're moving faster than we anticipated. On the orbiting Council station, the Galactic Security Committee held an emergency session. Images of Earth's surface filled the display screens as Council members discussed the situation. The humans are showing unexpected resistance, complained a Zintian representative. They were supposed to be compliant like the Calarians. Grand Counselor Zextral raised his 4 arms for silence. Earth has been reclassified as a Category 5 extraction zone. Their civilization has been deemed incompatible with Council oversight. The vote was unanimous. Earth would be brought under direct control. Within hours, a Vuldarian battle fleet entered Earth's orbit. Their massive ships positioned themselves above major cities: New York, Beijing, Moscow, London, and others. Smaller vessels targeted military installations across the globe. General Patricia Evans watched from NORAD headquarters as alien ships approached. "Hold positions," she ordered over the secure communication network. No response until the signal comes. The first attack came without warning. Energy beams lanced down from orbit, targeting power plants, communication hubs, and known military facilities. The Council expected these precision strikes to paralyze Earth's defenses. In the UN General Assembly, Council representatives delivered their ultimatum. "Earth is now under direct Council administration," announced the Neorian diplomat, his crystalline body glittering under the assembly lights. "All governments are dissolved. Resistance will result in escalating enforcement actions." President Rodriguez stood to respond, but before she could speak, the transmission was cut. Across the planet, all standard communication networks went dark as Council ships deployed signal jammers. On Centauri Prime, Ambassador Frank and his team were brought before the full Council. Hundreds of alien representatives looked down from tiered seating as they entered the chamber. "Humanity has proven unready for galactic citizenship," Zextral announced. "Your planet will be administered directly until resource extraction is complete." Frank stepped forward despite the guards. "And then what happens to my people?" The Grand Counselor's expression didn't change. "Those with useful skills will be redistributed to appropriate facilities. The remainder will be relocated to habitation zones." "You mean concentration camps?" Frank said, his voice steady despite his anger. "A primitive interpretation," Zextral replied dismissively, but essentially correct. Back on Earth, as alien troops began landing near major population centers, Admiral Diane Foster received confirmation that every hidden facility was ready. From her command center deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, she gave the order humanity had been preparing for. "Operation Midnight Shield is now active." I repeat, Midnight Shield is active. Around the world, hidden screens lit up with the same message. The moment of truth had arrived. After months of secret preparation, Earth would finally reveal its response to the Council's betrayal. As Vuldarian ships moved into position for the next wave of attacks, they had no idea what was about to emerge from Earth's oceans, mountains, and deserts. Humanity was about to show the galaxy that they had been gravely underestimated. The ocean surface broke near Hawaii as Earth's first battleship emerged from its underwater hangar. Similar scenes played out across the globe. Vessels rising from the seas, launching from hidden mountain bases, and powering up in concealed desert facilities. Admiral Diane Foster stood on the bridge of the EDS Defiance, watching as her display filled with confirmation signals from Earth's secret fleet. 117 ships, built in complete secrecy, now revealed themselves simultaneously. "All vessels report combat ready," Admiral, her executive officer, reported. "Begin Operation Thunderstrike," Diane ordered. "Target Council command ships first." The alien vessels in orbit had no warning. The first they knew of Earth's counterattack was when energy weapons, reverse-engineered from their own technology, struck their hulls with devastating precision. General Patricia Evans coordinated the ground response from NORAD. As Council forces landed near major cities, they found not panic but prepared resistance. Earth's military forces had been equipped with modified alien weapons and trained in counter-invasion tactics. "Activate city shields." Patricia ordered. Across the planet, energy fields shimmered into existence over major population centers. When Council ships fired on New York, the beam dissipated harmlessly against the shield. "Impossible," cried his ancient commander as his sensors registered the defense. "These humans are using modified quantum barrier technology." In space, Earth's fleet engaged the surprised Council forces. Smaller, more nimble human ships darted between massive alien vessels, targeting engines and weapons systems with precision strikes. "They underestimated us," Diane told her crew as the Defiance disabled a Voldarian cruiser. "They thought we'd be easy prey." On Centauri Prime, alarms blared through the Council chambers. Ambassador Frank Bennett watched with satisfaction as the alien representatives fell into chaos. "What is happening?" demanded Grand Counselor Zex Troll, his normally composed demeanor cracking. A Neorian officer rushed in, his crystalline form flashing with distress patterns. "Earth forces have disabled half our orbital fleet. They've developed weapons based on our own technology." Frank stepped forward, free from his guards in the confusion. "Did you really think we wouldn't notice your true intentions? Humans have been preparing for threats since we first picked up stones as weapons." The chaos provided the opportunity Earth's covert team had been waiting for. Major John Wilson and a small force of special operators, who had infiltrated Centauri Prime disguised as service workers, now made their move. "Ambassador, time to go," John said as he entered the chamber with his team. "We have a ship waiting." In the confusion, they not only escaped with Frank and the Earth delegation, but also managed to capture Grand Counselor Zex Troll himself. "You cannot possibly win against the full might of the Council," Zex Troll said as they secured him aboard their escape vessel. "We don't need to defeat the entire Council," Frank replied. "We just need to show the galaxy what you really are." Kevin Martinez, who had accompanied the rescue team, accessed the Council's central communication hub before they departed. With a few keystrokes, he broadcast evidence of the Council's exploitation to every member world in the galaxy. "This is what the Council core worlds have been doing to protected planets for centuries," Kevin announced as images of stripped worlds and displaced civilizations filled screens across thousands of planets. The broadcast included the Council's own records, the systematic exploitation of developing worlds, the displacement of populations, and the true purpose of the protection program. As their ship escaped Centauri Prime, Frank received a transmission from Admiral Foster. "Earth space is secured," she reported. "Council forces are retreating, and we're getting signals from dozens of other worlds. They're rising up against Council control." For the first time since the crisis began, Frank allowed himself to smile. It wasn't just about saving Earth, he told his team. It was about freeing the galaxy. Across space, on hundreds of worlds previously cowed into submission, populations witnessed Earth's resistance and found their own courage. The careful hierarchy the Council had maintained for millennia began to crumble as planet after planet declared independence. Earth's fierce retaliation had indeed stunned the Galactic Council and ignited a revolution that would reshape the stars. The weeks following Earth's counterattack brought remarkable changes to the galactic order. Council forces retreated from Earth orbit, falling back to core systems as rebellions erupted throughout their territory. 200 years of carefully maintained control collapsed in days. Ambassador Frank Bennett found himself at the center of a new political reality. Representatives from formerly subjugated worlds arrived on Earth daily, seeking alliance with the planet that had dared to fight back. "We need a new structure," Frank told President Rodriguez as they prepared for a historic meeting. "Not another council that concentrates power, but something truly cooperative." In the United Nations General Assembly, now expanded with temporary seating for alien representatives, Frank addressed delegates from over 200 worlds. "The age of exploitation is over," he declared to thunderous applause. "Today we begin the Galactic Cooperation Initiative, where all member worlds stand as equals." Former Grand Counselor Zex Troll watched from a secure holding area. The Voldarian leader would stand trial for crimes against countless civilizations, along with other high-ranking council officials. "You've doomed yourselves," Zextrol told Frank during a pre-trial interview. "Without the council's guidance, chaos will spread across the stars." Frank studied the fallen leader. "That's always the excuse of tyrants. That control is necessary for peace. We'll take our chances with freedom." The Galactic Cooperation Initiative established its first principles in what became known as the Earth Charter. Technology would be shared equally. Resources would be traded fairly. Each world would maintain sovereignty over its territory and development. Dr. Richard Cooper led the Technology Exchange Program, working with scientists from dozens of species. The Council hoarded advances, releasing them only when profitable. Richard explained to his diverse team, "We'll develop new technologies together, with shared benefits." Not all transitions were peaceful. Some Council loyalists fought to maintain their privilege. Admiral Diane Foster commanded a multinational fleet that helped liberated worlds secure their independence. After a particularly difficult battle to free the mining colonies of Proxima Centauri, Diane received an unexpected visitor on her flagship. A representative of the Calarians, one of the first species subjugated by the Council, presented her with a ceremonial weapon. "For centuries, we believed we were lesser beings, unworthy of determining our own fate," the Calarian said. "Earth has shown us that size and age do not determine a species' right to freedom." On Earth itself, humanity adjusted to a new reality. Alien visitors became common in major cities. Earth businesses expanded to other worlds. Students from Earth enrolled in universities on distant planets, while alien scholars came to study human culture and history. Kevin Martinez, whose cyber expertise had helped broadcast the truth about the Council, now headed Earth's interstellar communication network. The Council used information control as a weapon, Kevin told his international team. "Our network will ensure that no single power can ever again monopolize knowledge across the galaxy." 6 months after the revolution began, the trial of former Council leaders concluded. Their sentences varied, but all included the requirement to assist in restoring the worlds they had damaged. As the verdicts were read, Dr. Susan Kelly sat beside representatives from 20 previously exploited planets. Her research had documented the environmental devastation caused by Council extraction methods. "Justice isn't just about punishment," she told a reporter afterward. "It's about healing the wounds they left behind." 1 year to the day after Earth's counterattack, representatives from the Galactic Cooperation Initiative gathered on a terraformed asteroid that would serve as their neutral meeting ground. Unlike the hierarchical Council chambers, the new assembly hall was circular, with all seats at equal height. Frank Bennett, now serving as Earth's permanent representative, took his place among delegates from hundreds of worlds. Some species towered over humans, others were microscopic, and used technical aids to participate. Some breathed methane, others existed as energy patterns. Yet despite their differences, they shared a common purpose: to build a galactic community based on mutual respect rather than exploitation. As Frank looked around the chamber at the diverse beings who had once lived under Council dominion, he reflected on humanity's unexpected role. Earth had been seen as primitive, backward, even savage. But those same qualities, fierce independence, stubborn resistance to control, and willingness to fight against overwhelming odds, had changed the galaxy forever.